Okay, so exciting. We get to actually add the color to it now. So here's my drawing. Here's my finished example. I'm going to show you on this one how I get it to here. So my first step is just to simply look at the object. And I'm looking for shadows. I'm looking for highlights. I actually worry about the shadows first, and I pick out some colors that I feel like are close to this, or I can get creative and use some different colors. That's okay too. Pumpkins come in different colors. But for now, I'm just going to keep it pretty basic with maybe some brown and some orange. So now that I have my two darker colors, I'm going to start layering them over my pumpkin. I don't color hard. It looks like I'm coloring hard here, but I'm really not until the very, very, very end. Just like when we did our practice. So I go and I fill in where I think all my shadows would be first. Part of that I'm observing, part of that I'm just thinking, where would light have trouble getting to? You know, maybe around my edges. Maybe what parts of my pumpkin do I want to define a little bit more? So this is what it looks like when I start. And now I'm going to layer over some orange too. And I keep going with that, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, so here's that first step done. Notice it's not smooth yet, and it won't be smooth for a while, so just accept that. But I did layer over the orange and brown, and I colored really light in the center, because if I don't color light in the center, I'm not gonna see those highlights that I wanna add later. So now I'm gonna choose some lighter colors. So don't be afraid to experiment with colors. Get a free draw paper, try out using, you know, a yellow with orange and brown, or maybe you don't like that. Maybe you use a peach instead, or maybe you add in a little bit of the green that you see here on the example pumpkin. You could really make yours kind of look different from other people's results by changing the color slightly. I am gonna do kind of a creamish color with a yellow for this pumpkin, which is different from what I did here. So it's gonna look slightly different, which is okay with me. So with these colors, I layer over the entire pumpkin. So I'm not just doing it in the middle, I'm going over all of it. I am really not pressing very hard, but it is starting to smooth it out a little bit more just because I have more and more layers there. I also want to add in some yellow just to kind of brighten it up a little bit. If I feel like I'm losing some of the shadows that I had put in, I can go back and add some darker colors over what I have already blended out. So here you can see I've started to begin that. It's already starting to smooth it out. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so notice that it looks a lot smoother. I have my highlights where I use the brightest colors. I have my shadows where I used my darker colors, and it's looking pretty smooth. Now here is my final step. It needs to look pretty smooth before you do this. Don't rely too heavily on this last step, which is the baby oil. So the baby oil is on the back counter opposite of the sinks where it says 5th grade. And I have one of these dishes per table. It is not very full. You can hardly see the baby oil there. And that's on purpose because you shouldn't use too much of it. The brushes are on the side with the sinks right here behind me. I would suggest a small brush for this step. So here, you're basically going to paint the baby oil onto it, and you will notice that it smooths out the oil pastels as you paint it on. It almost makes it look like it's painted, which is kind of cool because it's a little easier than painting. And you're just gonna smooth out the whole thing. Be careful, don't get too much baby oil. You don't want it to drip on your project as you put it over here. And you know, you wanna go slow and gentle so that you don't end up with a big greasy mess. So you can tell that this part right here is a little shiny and a little smoother. Have fun.